Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. For those that are new here, welcome in. Just wanted to quickly say thank you to everyone that supported the last video. I know that on my main channel, Ncash Official, obviously, it's a very large channel, but I did not expect the amount of support that I did receive on the previous video. So I just wanted to quickly say thank you to everyone that just became a part of the channel, that watched that video. And even for those that are new to the channel as well. But with that being said, let's talk about something pretty big, because Hedera is on a completely different path than most projects in this space. And that path is building out core infrastructure and pretty much becoming a foundational piece of what will be the future financial system. And I know that we talk about that with XRP as well. And yeah, I think XRP will do very well. I just think that there's going to be a lot of room for a lot of great projects, and Hedera is definitely right there next to XRP, as well as a few other projects as well. But, I've watched HBAR become this absolute powerhouse for the enterprise space over the last roughly 5 years. And yes, we do get caught up in the short term, just looking at price action. And don't get me wrong, I still think that HBAR is looking very, very good on the overall chart. I mean, just looking at the setup here, yeah, we were chopping for a bit of time. Now we're starting to squeeze a bit here to the upside, which I do like to see. We still have a lot of work to do here, though. Just looking at it on the weekly view, I would love for us to get a nice close right over roughly like 10 cents. It's like 10.5 cents roughly. Just kind of squeezing above some of these key areas of resistance. Ultimately, the resistance going all the way back from February. But for the most part, like, I'm not too concerned at all with price action right now in this market, simply because I do feel like we're kind of on the lower end of things. And what I mean by that is, like, we're at that point where most of these charts look as though they have found their bottom, and now we're just kind of consolidating a bit in that accumulation pattern. And as you guys can even see here, like, this is the RSI, which is also what I mentioned in the previous video regarding Hedera. So price action wise, like, if you guys are here, to kind of go over TA or anything like that, that's kind of like the bare minimum there, and I'm not going to go in depth on that. But the main thing that I am looking at with Hedera, and just kind of talking about like the foundation that they're building and, becoming that powerhouse around enterprises, it goes back to one big thing. And it's one category in the space that's been on fire lately. And of course, yes, that's AI. So the top AI and big data tokens, it doesn't include Hedera here, but most of these AI projects, I'm just going to be honest with you guys, a lot of them are just hype. There's not a lot of actual demand for any of these networks. They're not really building out solid AI use cases. One that's actually doing so is like Track. I do love Origin Trail and Track, but that will definitely be at a later point that I do kind of go over this project, and I'll talk about that in depth. But Hedera definitely has a lot to offer in the AI market, which we'll get to. I want to go over a few things though here, because again, the reason why I do think that AI is such a game changer is because when you zoom out and actually look at what AI is becoming, it's not so much the idea of like, oh, AI is going to replace our jobs. There's going to be robots doing this, doing that. It's not that simple. I more so look at what AI is going to do for finance. And I go back to like the problem with TradFi. Like, I have a good friend of mine right now that's moving from one platform to another platform, and he wants to jump into dividends and things like that. And the big issue that he's dealing with is, number one, the time frame to settle funds, but also, the platform is not available on the weekend. It's not available on holidays. It's only, working around stock hours, which we're talking about roughly, it's a small window per week that these platforms are actually working in. So the time to settle and everything like that, it's definitely a problem. It's a problem that plagues pretty much everything. So when we think about AI, I more so look at like AI agents. And I know that we've witnessed a lot of these posts on X where like, oh, AI is getting so insane. A guy is actually deploying AI agents and he's turning, this much money into this much money in 7 days. I know that a lot of this stuff is just like hype. Right? Like, a lot of this is probably hype just to generate some clicks and stuff, or promote like Poly Market or something like that. But this is actually happening. Like, there's definitely a lot of AI agents out there that are now utilizing actual money and trading for people, and they're making a ton of money for the person deploying these agents. But I also look at this a little bit more complex than that. I look at it as the idea like this is running 24/7. The trades are getting executed automatically 24/7, 365. And this is pretty much the future that we're headed into, where AI agents are the ones dominating these TradFi platforms. Oh, I want to buy a stock at 3 a.m. on, Christmas Eve, for an example. Who's going to push that transaction through? Not a human. Definitely not on a TradFi platform right now. But in the future, when stocks are on-chain, tokenized, yeah, an AI agent can push that trade through, execute that trade. Because at the end of the day, these AI agents are going to operate 24/7, 365. And that's exactly what Coinbase recently stated. Coinbase CEO, AI agents will need crypto payments. Now, this is actually not the CEO. We already know who the CEO is, Brian Armstrong. I don't know. I guess Coin Bureau kind of made a mistake here, but we do have here, Jesse Pollock said, increasingly autonomous AI agents require native programmable money positioning base and the X402 standard as key infrastructure for agentic commerce. Now, this X402 standard, that's the standard for AI agents. And it's also a standard that Hedera back on February 10th did implement and now is utilizing, which we love to see. This is awesome to see. And, this is how like a payment scheme would work essentially around like AI agents with clients. You have the crypto wallet being tapped in, the merchant server, the X402 facilitator, and then the underlying blockchain as well. So we could have this happen on Hedera, but that's not a big surprise, or at least to me it isn't. And we'll get to that here in a moment. But I did make a post on X back on April 18th, actually. And I stated that like AI mixed with blockchain and DLT is the ultimate systemic upgrade. With AI and AI agents, it's unlocking 24/7, 365 automated markets. Blockchain DLT unlocks those automated markets to move efficiently with near instantaneous settlement at fractions of a penny. And of course, Hedera is very, very efficient with this. People are missing the big picture here, and the plan is already in place. Tokenize all financial markets, integrate blockchain and DLT networks into traditional systems, utilize AI agents as 24/7 brokers, realtors, etc. This is how you achieve a completely new financial system that is tokenized, digital, automated, and fully upgraded. We are all watching this become a reality in time. And what's crazy about this is like a lot of people don't think Hedera immediately. Like, oh, there's a big push on AI finance. Yeah, Hedera's not a part of that, right? But Hedera did launch the AI Studio. Trusted, transparent AI. AI systems are often viewed as black boxes, opaque, hard to verify, and difficult to govern, especially in real-world applications. The AI Studio closes that gap by enabling developers to build AI agents that operate with verifiable trust and transparency on Hedera. And yeah, they provide the full AI agent kit. No smart contracts needed. Trust the AI workflows as well, all through the HCS service. Accelerate development with familiar tools as well. This is all through like those tools that are already locked in with the AI side of the market. And Hedera offers all of this. But that's not where it all ends, right? Like we also go back to some of these key things. Like for an example, here's another major case study. This is actually with Accenture, which we'll get to here in a moment. And then of course, yes, everyone knows about the Equity Lab, NVIDIA and Intel, push that happened. But this one is also with Equity Lab, right? Hedera, Accenture, and Equity Lab enable verifiable AI oversight for the public sector. And Accenture is an absolute giant. We've talked about it, right? But here we have 4.8 trillion plus projected AI market value by 2033, 72% of medium large enterprises deploying agentic AI. I mean, the numbers right in front of us, I mean, they're insane, but this is exactly the proof that we are moving into a fully AI automated system. And, with Accenture on board, like I've talked about Accenture, they have like 9,000 plus institutional and enterprise clients tied to them. It only makes sense that Accenture taps in with Hedera, especially through something like this. And then, yes, of course, we do have bringing trust to AI on next generation hardware from NVIDIA and Intel. And this is, of course, the same exact sort of breakdown, but more so we look at the Blackwell chips from NVIDIA, and that's where you start to see this become a reality. Because again, this is all through like Intel processors and even NVIDIA GPUs that power majority of enterprise. Like if we think about enterprise systems and even majority of systems out there in the world around finance or enterprise or anything, guess what? You could almost guarantee that NVIDIA or Intel are tapped in a big way. NVIDIA more so GPUs and Intel more so processors. I mean, even my PC right now that I'm using has an NVIDIA GPU and an Intel processor in it. And that's pretty much the same standard for majority of enterprise situations. So when we think about the NVIDIA Blackwell system, like this architecture that they are creating around their GPUs, like this is where we start to see AI really, accelerate in a big way. That's why when we look at this GPU, like it's achieving a 400,000x performance improvement compared to conventional cryptographic methods. So this is what the next generation of finance and pretty much everything will live on and ultimately operate on. And of course, yes, Hedera is right there at the core of this all, which is extremely bullish. And I think that this is something very, very exciting, which is also why we think about what Hedera wants to do. They want to become the trust layer for the AI system. And here we have AI agents don't just need to be smart, they need to be trusted. The agentic economy needs identity, payment, and verifiable computation solutions fit for enterprise adoption. Traditional systems can't deliver that. Hedera can. And yes, Hedera definitely can, and they have this full AI ebook that I do think everyone should go read if you do hold HBAR, because again, this really provides everything around AI and how the convergence of both AI and blockchain can solve the trust crisis that will face enterprise AI in the coming years. So when we think about Hedera, this could definitely be the backbone for the AI economy and just AI in general. And we could just imagine how crazy that's going to be. You got to think about it like this, right? It's a 24/7, 365 system that will pretty much move. I mean, the amounts that it could move are, it's up to you guys to guess, because nobody's going to know the answer. We could just say hundreds of trillions potentially, because again, you got to think about tokenization and everything. Now, will Hedera be the one that moves all of that money? No, but I definitely think that Hedera could move a significant amount of money, especially once we do see that full-on AI push. Are we still, years out from that? Sure, we are. But think about, I saw a great comment on the previous video on the channel, and he said, imagine what HBAR will look like in 10 years. And I know that we don't want to think about 10 years down the road. We're thinking about now, next month, maybe even next year. Again, I still think HBAR does very well. I've talked about it, $1 to $2 is a very fair assessment for HBAR. But in 10 years from now, I don't think that we will be sitting here thinking a $10 HBAR is insane. And I know that sounds crazy to a lot of you out there, because a lot of you probably just went, wait, what? But yeah, I think that a $10+ HBAR in 10 years is definitely a fair assumption, because you got to think about how crazy crypto will be in 10 years as well. If we think about, how wild it will be, tokenization, stablecoins, payments, all that stuff on chain, majority of finance will be on chain by then. Yeah, I think that, a $10 HBAR is not that crazy to think about. I think multiple networks in the space that are very utility based, really kind of providing real world use cases on the network as well. I think most of them will reach into the high $1+ trillion market cap region in the next, 10 years. But also we got to think about where Hedera really is in terms of the AI revolution. And we even have here, the AI revolution demands trust. Hedera redefines it. Enterprise blockchain has been a long time coming, but the pieces are finally falling into place. And we come down here and we have, this is all underpinned, because this is all through the AI audit and, the major thing with Equity Lab and Intel and NVIDIA. All of this is all underpinned by the transparency and immutability of Hedera's network. This innovation reflects years of research and highlights the transformative potential of partnerships between leading enterprises and the Hedera ecosystem. This makes enterprise-grade AI not only secure, but also verifiable. It's a game changer for industries like finance, healthcare, supply chain management, and beyond. As AI reshapes global industries, Hedera is emerging as the backbone for enterprise-grade blockchain solutions, and it definitely is. You have that ABFT security, the transactions are very cheap to move over Hedera, and that was also a big negative that everyone had about some of these networks. The reason why Ethereum is so valuable is because of how expensive the transactions on Hedera or on Ethereum have been throughout the years. And that's a big selling point to me about Hedera, because of, how cheap it is. But a lot of people think that's a negative. But if you got to think about once everything starts to scale in this space, that's going to be a major selling point on a lot of these networks, including, of course, Hedera. And the fact that Hedera is working with names like NVIDIA already, which, you know, if we think about NVIDIA, it's the most valuable company in the world. And they recently just added over $250 billion to its market cap, which is wild. And again, like, we think about just how big this is for Hedera. And yeah, like, Hedera is working with some of the biggest names out there, especially in the AI game. And if we have to wait a year, 2 years, 3 years, I don't really care how long I have to wait, because again, I look at what's happening here and the proof is already out there. Do I think that we have to wait that long to see profits on HBAR? Do I think that we have to wait that long to see HBAR go to $1 to $2? No, but I think like the long-term game here for Hedera is extremely bullish, and I'm very excited to watch it unravel. And I'm watching, you know, everything in real time happen. I go back to my post and I'm looking at this, and yeah, we really are watching this become a reality in real time. You just got to take a step back, look at it, and then be patient. And I know that that's asking a lot because we've been patient for so long. It's been, you know, well over, 5 years since, HBAR did hit a fresh high. And, I know that it doesn't seem like it's worth the wait, but it definitely will be. And I think that HBAR is going to print a lot of new millionaires. It's just going to take a little bit of time, and I'm here for it. I think that we're already starting to see the big shift here, and Hedera definitely is providing some core infrastructure for some of these huge use cases happening in and around crypto, because it's not just in crypto. AI is pretty much everywhere. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely like, subscribe, turn notifications on, because there's more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, Nick, thanks for watching. Peace out, guys.